There we go. Okay, look at that.
Wonderful. Got it working. Yay! So we are live. Welcome everyone. And I think Angelique will pop back in here in a minute. Um, all right. Yay! And we are live. So, when you go and you're live and there's no editing, this is what happens. So,
That's right.
welcome
Welcome to
everyone.
live.
So glad that everyone is here and able to make it. Welcome to Fempreneur True Confessions podcast. Um, you want me to go ahead and move forward, Angelique?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I am Laura. I'm the owner of ODAA Virtual Assistant Agency and Consulting, and we are a small boutique style agency where we're here to really help with strategy in your business as well as staffing your business with the right staff for what you are looking for and watching you grow confidently in your business, helping women in business and entrepreneurs really find their path, a great path forward, feel confident that they can help their clients because they have the help behind the scenes that they need. So that is
Awesome.
us.
And I'm Angelique with Lady Powerhouse Solutions, and we are a heart-centered approach to a project and event management for women entrepreneurs on fire and lighten up the world, like Jean. And she's lighting up the world with her passion and drive to achieve her mission in the most authentic way possible. And that's what we do. And together we're Fempreneur True Confessions. And our mission is to empower women in business and life to live authentically and support each other instead of competing with each other, and to model this authentically through our business and our personal relationships to empower other women to do the same. So basically, we're trying to normalize what we call struggles. And Jean is going to help us learn how to face those struggles and maybe call them by something else. And but to share the lessons we learn. And the common goal is to lift other women up and to normalize what it looks like when women succeed at supporting each other and helping build up the confidence in each other, and to encourage each other to use our gifts and our passions to fulfill our calling. So that's what we're doing. We're building, maintaining, and growing this sisterhood that believes in an abundance mindset, sharing our struggles and helping each other rise to our highest potential. So Laura, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Jean. Jean's one of my clients, and I am super excited. I was talking to her about the podcast, and she was like, Angelique, I wouldn't use the word struggle. And so we got into a conversation about that. And I was like, you know what? We need to have you on the podcast. And we need to talk about this. So normally when we do the podcast, we talk about other female entrepreneurs' challenges, how they faced them, what came out on the other side. But this particular podcast, we're going to talk about things a little bit differently, because Jean wants to offer us a different view of what struggles, which instead of calling them struggles, calling them challenges or something else like that. But we're going to talk about what an abundance mindset is. She's going to define that for us. We're going to talk about some practical methods to help you live abundantly. And if we have enough time, because we had technical difficulties at the start, so we're kind of running short today, what does living without struggle mean? Yeah. And if we can't get to all of that, Jean, then we'll have to have a after party at another time. And so we can talk about some of the other things. But first, just so I didn't really talk about who you are and introduce you, but most of that is going to be in on the podcast website and in YouTube and all the places where we are. So I'm not going to go into that, and we're just going to dive in. Okay. Yeah. So define for us your definition of abundance mindset.
Well, first of all, we have to understand that we live in a quantum field of energy. And so every thought, every word is projected out, but it also comes back in exactly the same form. So if we're saying I am struggling, then we are constantly projecting struggle and bringing it back
Yes.
to us. Now, every situation has a challenge to it, but it doesn't mean that it has to be a struggle. In other words, I mean, I think life is nothing but an adventure. And,
Yes.
and so we're meeting new experiences all the time. And so, today I had a new experience with you guys. And so I can look at it from a lot of different dimensions. I can look at it like as a possibility, and I can look at it as a struggle, or I can look at it as, an adventure or a challenge or not. I think it is as an opportunity, to tell you the truth, because we're in this techie age right now, and we are trying to work around trying to figure some of these things out. And ultimately we will figure it out and it'll be good. But so abundance mindset to me is about the way you look at something, the way you understand it. If we want to be abundant, then we have to think abundant. We have to say the abundant words. We can't be going, oh, I can't pay the bills and I'm struggling right now and I don't have enough money, because all of that goes out into the quantum field and it comes back in exactly the same form.
Yes.
So once we understand the science of that, I mean, this is quantum theory right now. Once we understand the science of that, then we don't allow ourselves to move into that struggle phenomena or that struggle concept or mental state of being, because we don't want that. We want to have the sense of abundance, meaning to me, everything, there's so many opportunities. There's opportunities everywhere you look. There's opportunities, and this is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to learn how to live stream. How exciting is that? So we have these opportunities, and it might take a little doing to figure it all out. Okay, to write a book, it takes a little doing to figure it all out. And that doesn't mean you stop learning. That's just the beginning of learning. So you just continue on. But then, as we move along, we get better and better and better and better. So the opportunities sort of change their tone, because now as we develop our expertise, we open up into a whole nother field of possibilities. And that's just a process. It's a process. So that's how but abundance is available to everybody. When you drive down the road, do you not see help wanted signs everywhere?
Yes.
If you get online, you see help wanted, indications all over the place. So there's lots of opportunity. It's just like, what are the ones you want? What do you want to define as the opportunity you're looking for? And then that goes to going to your mindset and deciding, I would like to work with people. I want to share wisdom. I want to lift them. I want to care about them. I want them to know they're not in this thing alone. Okay, so by shaping that, I'm now putting that out into the universe, and that's what comes back.
And so what are some practical methods that help us to live in that abundance, right? But for someone who doesn't, that this isn't something that, so I've been practicing this abundance mindset for a while. Good. I catch myself when I'm saying something like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to pay the rent this month or something like that. Right. I catch myself and go, nope, money comes to me easily and abundantly. Right. So what are some practical methods that you can share with our audience about how to get into that frame of mind and practice that on a daily basis?
Well, one of the things we want to be aware of is fear, because what we stop ourselves when we become afraid. And many people have been raised in the idea of fear. The thing about it is that if it's how you look at life is an adventure or it's nothing at all. That's Helen Keller, And so are we willing to let it be an adventure? Because if it's not an adventure, we lose the game right off the bat. So we want to be able to see through those eyes. We see through the eyes of a child. We see excitement. We see the circus is coming to town. It's exciting. And so we begin to when we look with those eyes, we see openness and we see possibility. So the first thing is, what are the possibilities in this situation? And then if we go to, it's not going to work, I won't have the rent money, then we immediately cut off all the possibilities.
Yes.
There are possibilities here. Then we can begin to go, okay, let's start looking at what the possibilities are and where I might begin. And then that's when it becomes an adventure, because we've got to learn along the way. We've got to learn what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, how I can develop what I'm good at, and so forth. And that it's just a process. And so sometimes people think, oh, it didn't work, so it's no good, But I think that's really hurting yourself, because we don't know a lot of stuff. We're not that bright, right off the bat, and we
don't know what we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. And so we've got to experiment and experiment until we sort of figure things out. It is okay to fall. It's okay to fall, as long as you keep picking yourself back up again.
Yeah, it just takes practice, right?
Yeah. Like today, we had some little glitches, but we still got back online. And so what? So we had some glitches, now a couple more things than you did before.
Exactly.
I think
so. Right. Yeah. Right. No. So what does living without struggle mean? What do you mean when you say that?
Yeah, I see when you're noticing a situation that some might call a struggle, you learn to look at it with new eyes, meaning you learn to see what the opportunity is in that situation. So let's say you don't have the rent money at this moment in time. One thing you can do immediately is start affirming that the money is flowing into you. Because what happens when you do that is I get another client, you get another client, I sell a few more books, et cetera, et cetera. And so the opportunities are available to us if we open our mind and say, I have the rent money. I have you speak in the now, because that's how the universe understands us. When we work in the quantum field, we have to speak in the now, because it doesn't know about yesterday. The only thing that's available is right now. So we use the now to affirm that I have my rent money. I have more than enough.
Yeah.
Every day it flows to me in some form or fashion. I don't even know what it is. It just keeps coming. And then as we get practiced at that, we can begin to see like what appears to be a struggle, and then go, wait a minute, I choose not to see it that way. I choose to see the possibility in that situation. Does that?
Yeah.
But we've got to
love that choice.
Our mind and our words, and the way we approach life.
That is a choice. Absolutely, Laura.
Yeah. I choose to look at it differently. I choose to see it differently, because I think sometimes we like that idea of I just don't, or I can't, or it's not. And that's where you get stuck.
Yeah.
Instead of going, how can I reward this?
Yeah. And then
I know.
And then there's people around you, and they're able to help you. I mean, sometimes
or hinder you, depending, right?
What? Say it again.
Or hinder you.
Or hinder you.
If you say, I'm so broke right now, and then your friend agrees with you, they're just putting more.
Exactly. They're making
more
it
energy into that thought that you put out there to start with. But if you say, you know what, money comes to me easily, I don't have to worry about the rent at all. Yeah. I know it'll be there when I need it. And they, no, and they'll either agree with you or go, now how did you come to that? Come to that. And I know for me, it's very much a daily intentional practice, because I still catch myself saying things that I don't want to be my reality. Yeah. And one thing you talked about, opportunities, and I read this a long time ago, and I started incorporating it, and it's taken years. But when I do have something that's a challenge for me, what is this trying to teach me? Yes. What am I supposed to learn from this particular challenge?
Yeah. That's how we grow. We don't, if we just were sitting in the chair watching TV and, not really like being challenged in any way, we wouldn't be growing. So I think it's our huge blessing that we are challenged, because that's how we begin to expand our abilities and our talents and the way we look at life. We need all that. And so again, is it a blessing or is it a curse? Which way are we going to look at it, and then when you decide, nope, there's a blessing in this, I'm going to figure it out.
Yes.
You do. Then you do.
Yes.
We always
Um,
say, my husband and I are always like, oh, it's a storm, which means there's a blessing. How
Uh-huh.
long is the storm going to last? Like, where are we at? And the storms usually become less and less,
Mhm.
and challenges. And we've learned through the years, like, okay, well, whatever this is, the blessing is coming after, and we know that that's like the path. Like,
Mhm. Yeah.
storm came, the blessing will come. There's a lesson in this, and we'll see what was supposed to be, like what we're
Yeah.
supposed to learn and move forward. And so, yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
I
I
knew
never
Helen.
believed in the manifesting stuff, right?
Mhm.
The all that. What do they call it? Woo woo, right? And then earlier this year, I'm in a book club and they decided to read The Secret. And I'd never read The Secret before, but it changed my life.
Yeah.
It really did. I was like, okay, wait a minute. And it didn't change my life because of what I read. It changed my life because I put into practice what I read. And
Exactly.
it actually, like, money was coming out of freaking nowhere, people. And other things were manifesting as
Yeah.
well. And but the one thing I remember about The Secret was you have to act as if it's not, then you have to act as if it's already happened.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you want, you have to act as if it's already happened.
Mhm.
And you see this too in Christian,
Jesus
you
taught.
know, yes, like you have to be joyful and celebrate your
Mhm.
blessings before they arrive,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and yeah. So
Because
the
that's
other,
about energy. You know,
Mhm,
if you're in a grateful mood, if you're appreciative, that's a high energy. And if you're like, oh, bummer, I don't have the rent, you know, you're down here. It's harder to attract the beautiful opportunities and the excess of prosperity and all of that if you're in a funky down energy place. But when we move up into gratitude, you know,
that's why the gratitude
yeah,
practice is so powerful.
absolutely.
So powerful,
Yeah.
especially if you start and or end your day with it,
Mhm.
right? It just
Yeah.
sets you up for success.
Yeah.
So when we talk about, or when you, what does it mean when you say your ability to manifest the life you want is based on your choices?
Absolutely. It means that in any situation, like you just said it, you start your day with gratitude. That's a choice. And then when you do that, you bring your energy up. Your eyes now can begin to see the possibilities in the day because you're living in a place of higher energy. If you're start and just, oh God, now I have to get up, now I have to do this, you can't see anything from that point of view. All you see is like turmoil and, you know, heaviness. And so then you're making a choice to bring that into your life. And it really is as simple as making a choice, because every minute we're making a choice. I must give thanks about 100 times a day. And just legitimately, I just think we live in an amazing world, and you know, we can enjoy it all. We don't have to struggle, but sometimes we have to work hard. That's okay. That's not a struggle. That's just working hard. Or that's just working intensely, or whatever you want to call it. And it's worth it because you've chosen that for that.
Well,
moment.
I mean, are you working hard? Or are you passionate? Or how do you tell the difference? What does it mean to live passionately, to do work you feel passionate about?
Yes, I think it resonates to your heart, because everyone, if you watch children, even you'll see that they take to. I had one son, and he, every time something would happen, like the faucet wasn't working, he'd go get his little toolkit and come and run, you know. Now, of course, he wasn't going to do anything with that toolkit, but he was pretending. And that told me that he had this mechanical kind of sense about him. He is such a brilliant IT person. I mean, he self-taught, and he's brilliant. So I have a grandson who loved wearing a Superman cape. And he, you know, the thing I noticed with him is that he liked taking care of people. So I said to him, well, why are you wearing the Superman cape? What are you doing? And he says, I'm protecting my mom. And so I saw that he had this protecting quality going on within him. And now he's taking care of senior citizens in a facility. So people have this within them, and sometimes they don't notice because they think they have to be an executive, a lawyer, a doctor, something or other that's like, high, you know,
Right.
status or something. But I think when we really are living our passion, we might be working on long hours, or we might be working on a project for a while, but it's not really horrible. It's not terrible because we're in our passion.
Right.
Exactly.
We're loving it.
And I love the way you refer back to being childlike. I think it was Patty Digg. I think it was the book Creative is a Verb, but there's a story where she talks about how her business partner was encouraging her to call herself a writer. And then he says, why don't you say, when people ask you what you do, why don't you say you're a writer? She's like, well, I just wrote a few articles, a few thousand articles. and then that night she goes, what really like brought it to the forefront for her was she was at dinner that night with her family, and her husband asked her son or her daughter, I think it was her daughter, like, so are you a writer? And so I don't know that he had heard this conversation before, but he asked one of their kids, are you a writer? And they said, yeah, I am. See, I wrote a book today. And they held up this little piece of paper that they had folded and folded and folded and drew on. And because they were passionate about it, they believed they were a writer, and they had written a book today. And that's the kind of childlike belief that we need to have in ourselves, and stop disqualifying the things we do.
Yes.
And be more childlike in that way.
Yes. But then you know what's going to happen? That person that you just described is going to be a writer. I mean, he's going to find his way in the world as a writer. And now he might do other things too, but he's going to do that because he's already imprinted it. He imprinted that in his being, and that's what we want to understand. We imprint that in our being. So if we're saying, oh, I'm a loser, I'm a mess, I failed, we imprint that. And it's so wrong to say those things, because then we're never touching our true essence of what we're put in this earth to play a role, to be part of something bigger than ourselves. And then we can't do that if we're looking at ourselves from this loser mentality. So it's just it deprives you, but it also deprives the world of your gifts. So
well, Jean, I want to be respectful of your time. Thank you so much for joining us. And I know you have some free chapters of one of your books that you're going to share with us. And we'll put that link in the show notes for everyone. And Jean has multiple books. So I don't know which one that you're sharing chapters from, but they're all good. So it don't matter.
Thank you so much. But the one I want to share is the journey from anxiety to
Peace.
The journey from anxiety to peace, because I think there's so many people that can use the skills that are in this book. There's a lot of practices that are offered, or exercises that are offered, that will help you shift from a state of worry to a state of peace. And it's important that we have that right now, and it'll improve your health as well. But what I need is for people to email me at Jean, Jean, at spiritualtransformation.com, and just mentioned I'm asking for the 3 chapters. And
we can do that.
Send that off to them.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jean, for joining us. Apologize, it took a little extra time to get you on here, but what we've done in the less than 30 minutes has been awesome.
Oh,
yes, absolutely.
And good luck with your streaming. That's wonderful that you're giving this gift to the world. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to let Jean drop off, and then we'll introduce next week's guest, which I'm super excited about. Thank you again, Jean, so much for joining us.
Guys.
So next week, y'all, I've had a girl crush on this woman since
she's amazing,
for real, 2021. And I don't even remember how I met her. Now, what's funny, the funny story is Laura and I met her around the same time. And I got into her group and started and I know you guys are dying to know who it is now, right? But I immediately started inviting my friends to her group because the very first, she does a live on Sundays called the Sunday Service. And she just takes us through she just shares a little story, or, like an educational type. Sometimes it's a personal story from her life. Most of the time, actually, it is. But sometimes it's also just something educational. And then she leads us through a guided meditation. And I tell you what, the first time I did that guided meditation, and meditation is something I really am challenged with. I'm not going to say struggle. I'm going to say challenge. It's a challenge because my mind will constantly wander and I have to bring it back. Right. And I know I'm not the only one, but she led us through this guided meditation. And I saw myself in retirement. And I think that the guided meditation was to see yourself where you want to be, 20 years from now or something like that. Right. And I saw myself in a couple different places. And one of the places I saw myself was with my daughters and my grandchildren. And I was like, okay, well, I wonder if that's a possibility. And so I initiated a conversation with my daughter, my oldest daughter. And I said, hey, do you think this would work? And she said, yes, it will. And so it's just every single time that I get in meditation with her. And I know Nicole is one of the people in the group that's also on her team. She said, and she put this into words perfectly, she has a gift for bringing people into meditation, into that space that is just unlike any I've experienced before.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to meditate for a long time.
Well, it's hard because when you meditate, you think, okay, you're supposed to see visions or hear, these big booming voices from the sky because we're thought about things. Or it's like you're going to hear that. And I don't. When I meditate, I hear things like words will pop into my head, but that's about it. I see colors. So everything for me is always a puzzle. I feel like I don't get that clear vision of this. Yeah,
and everybody's different.
You have to think through it. So meditation means so many different things to people, which is she's wonderful.
And again, she's really good at getting us to where we can meet in the middle, right? Yeah. And so anyway, she just had this 3-day workshop. It was free. And I jumped at the chance to join it. And Laura was there too. And during one of the meditations, because she did them on every day, I got nudged to invite her to the podcast.
Yes.
And I was like, she's got thousands of followers. She had over 100 people in the live workshop with her. And I was just like, she doesn't have time for this. And I thought, no, I'm going to just follow the nudge. What does it hurt to ask? And we had just had a cancellation. Our guest for next week had to cancel because of some other circumstances outside of her control. So, she said yes. And so she's going to be with us next week. And I am just so super stoked about it. Yeah. Her name is Michelle Young. And she is the founder of the Practice for Women. And I encourage you, if you can't be here with us live, that you absolutely come back and listen to the replay, because it is going to be fantastic. And it's just so excited that she's taken time out of her busy day, which I know it is, to tell us and share her story is powerful. And I know that it's going to resonate with a lot of women, because I know our first guest for the podcast was Lisa Hammett, and she had just written and published her book about burnout. And it's part of Michelle's story is she got to that point of burnout. She went way past it, but I'm going to let her tell her own story. But it's going to be awesome. So I really hope you guys can join us live next week. Again, same bat channel, same bat time, Tuesdays, 3:00 Central. I think she's at 3. Is she at 3 or 3:30? Let's go look. I think it's at 3. but we allow people the flexibility, yeah, it's at 3 to book, but like 3:30, whatever fits into their schedule. So because we do really want to keep I really like the energy that we have when we go live, even though sometimes it kind of backfires on us, scrambling to get things in there. But anyway.
Absolutely. I'm super excited about her coming. When you mentioned that I had met her through networking, and then not forgot, but when you get busy and you don't think about it, and then, I saw on Facebook, and then by chance I saw that Sunday meeting on your page that day, and I was like, oh shit, Angelique knows her. And I was like, what is this? Because she hadn't done it for a minute, and then it started again, or there was something in between there. And so I hopped on, and I was like, oh my gosh. Because I love the meditation, and I love the ritual meditations, especially when you're in a group of people. And even on Zoom, you feel that, like you feel like you're with people. And she draws you in. There's just something very unique, even about how she feels, how she comes across. And you could be really into this or really not into this, but she's a completely different feel for me. And, and I kind of run in this world, and I love the people I meet, but just what comes off of her and she feels about people and love and care and teaching. She's definitely very unique. Her gift is very special.
Yeah, she's very special. And the thing is, she's special, but what's made her special is she has found her authenticity. She's just so real. You guys, she's out in the Pacific time zone. So she's in Oregon. She's so she gets up at 9:00 on Sunday mornings to do this for free for her group. And so that's not too bad for me, because that's like noon for me. I'm on the East Coast. But I don't know about anybody else, but I'm not getting up at 9:00 on a Sunday for nobody. Okay. So first of all, thank you, Michelle, for doing that, because by the time I get around to it, it's noon on my Sunday. I'm usually out of bed and had some coffee by then, so I like to sleep in on Sundays. That's my one day to sleep in. Sometimes Saturdays, but typically I got something going on Saturday. And I'm usually out of the house by 9. So when you can get on with her live, I will say this. I will go back and watch the replays, because in the Facebook group, you can go back and watch the replays. It's just not the same as being with her live. No, it's just not the same. Yeah. I don't know what it is. That energy reaches across the universe or something. But so I really try to catch them live and spend that time with her. And then when she had the workshop, I had to miss that first day because it was on Tuesday during our podcast. Yeah. So we couldn't be there. Either one of us could be there live, but I caught the next 2 live. And then the Q&A I did not catch live. But anyway, enough about that. We hope you'll join us next week. We're running on. I did. You know what? We're not on Restream this time because we had technical difficulties. But Restream gives us a timer, and I love that because right now I'm like, I have no idea how long we've been yapping.
About 40. Well, about 30, 35 minutes because we started late. So
yeah, we did.
This will be a little bit shorter. But it was great, and that's part of our life. Things go wrong, they go wrong, and we get it figured out, and yay, it worked out. And having Jean on, and then going in from what Jean was talking about to now going into what Michelle will be sharing and things like that. I just love where this goes. It's taking.
I tell you, the lineup of guests. Like, first of all, when we started this podcast, like, it was such a fly by the seat of your pants moment because not that we didn't plan it, we planned the shit out of this thing. Okay, for 6 months. And then finally, one day, I just started sending invitations and inviting people because Laura kept going, we're going to record it, right? We're going to record it, right? Nope, it's going to be live, baby. Because I find there, like, so I come from an event background. So I love doing live events.
Mm-hmm.
And there is something about being in person with people. There's an energy there. That's why live events are so lucrative.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why they're so powerful, and they can make such an impact on people, because there is an energy there that is not captured with recordings.
Yeah. It's
to
true.
the level that it is in live in person, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen some recordings that have moved me to tears, and I could feel the energy in the room and blah, blah, blah. Yes. I'm not saying it has no impact. I'm saying that live is better.
There's a pickup in live, you know, when you're on stage and it's like make it or break it or whatever, the idea of like, this is just what is, and there is no going back, you know, in comparison to where you could practice and practice and practice. You can record something and it's going to go out and people are going to watch it after, and things can be edited. There is a different behavior that kind of comes in with that. I'll have to say the same thing. Being a performer on stage, our live events were like, wow, the power and those feelings when you're on stage and everybody's looking, and it's terrifying. But it's so amazing. Like, you know, every time I go on stage, I get the goosebumps, and it would just all happen. And you get that feels, you know, of being live in front of people. And yes, I was petrified, and I probably was holding on to that, like, oh God, no, please. But in reality, I do love going live, and I love having the mistakes that I had in the technical and all the stuff behind the scenes, because there's just a reality there.
It's like Jean said, it's all a learning opportunity. It's all an opportunity to like, what is this teaching me? Why, you know, because I just got done saying, Laura, I am not in the mood for this. I am not in the mood for this ish today. So what happens? Technical difficult. That's gonna be a good blooper right there. Technical dickies.
It suits it right now. That suits it right now. Yeah.
But you know, what I was getting around to saying was that this lineup of speakers that we've had and the response that we've had, you guys, it's so humbling, and it has been such a blessing. We have had guests. Now we're booked out through May into June of next year. And so we started this, when did we start the podcast? November, October? Yeah. So we're already looking at rebooking our October guests. So that only leaves part of June, July, August, and September. There's only 4 months that we probably, you know, still need people. And it's been a blessing. And then the way the guests have lined up, you know, and who we're talking to and when matters, and it's intentional, it's on purpose, and the universe is conspiring for us.
We don't control it. They get to go in and pick their date. We have no idea. And it's just falling into line.
It's been awesome. It really has. And it's going to continue to be awesome. Yeah, I'm just so excited.
I am too. I'm really glad I got going, and we will see how next week goes. It's been really wonderful. So, and without you guys as well, like, you're here and you're listening and you're encouraging. Our LinkedIn is like shot through the roof.
Yes, LinkedIn. Thank you for mentioning that. We only need like 5 or 6 more people, you guys, to follow us on LinkedIn, and we can live stream there. So, please, if you're not following us on LinkedIn, please go do that. If you are following us on LinkedIn, please share so that we can get some additional followers and get over that 150 mark so that we can live stream. So thank you. That's our ask for today. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
All right. So we'll see you guys next time with Michelle Young with the Practice for Women. This is Angelique with Lady Powerhouse Solutions signing off.
And this is Laura Brown, ODAA, signing off. Enjoy your week, everyone.